You ever try to just start a task and end up scrubbing your sink, doom scrolling Instagram, and reevaluating every single life choice you've ever made? Yeah, I've been there. If just start worked, we wouldn't be here. We're gonna unpack why that advice sounds great in theory, but completely backfires when your brain is in survival mode. Let's talk about what actually works instead. But let's start with the myth itself. Just start assumes something really dangerous, that you're resisting the task for no reason or out of laziness, that you don't care about the repercussions, and that your mind is the problem, and with enough effort and force, you can override it. But what if I told you that the part of you that freezes is actually trying to help you? If your brain associates starting with pressure or judgment or emotional risk, then of course it's gonna hesitate. Tasks don't exist in a vacuum. Chores don't, projects don't. No, they all come with memories and associations, expectations, fear of failure, perfectionism, procrastination, a history of avoidance, past experiences where you messed up and paid the price of that shame spiral. So when someone tells you to just start, here's what they're really saying. Override your internal alarm system and ignore the fact that this feels threatening. That's like telling yourself to just put your hand on the burning stove because everything's gonna be fine. In your head, you know that's not true. You will not let yourself do it because you've spent your whole life anticipating danger. And so that request isn't just hard, it's impossible. So let's touch on neuroscience for just a second. When your body perceives a task as threatening, not necessarily physically, but emotionally, it activates your sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. If you're lucky, you push through. You go into overactive mode. That's fight. Or you do the opposite. You avoid it. You find something else to do. That's flight. But if you're exhausted, under-resourced, or the task feels tied to your self-worth, then you're gonna freeze or shut down. You rationalize with yourself, which is fawn. And none of this is because you don't care, but it's because your nervous system won't let you move forward until it feels safe. So here's the big takeaway. Procrastination isn't a time management issue. It's a regulation issue. And no amount of just start advice is gonna override that psychological reality. Expecting otherwise is ridiculous. But if you didn't know, that's okay, and that's what we're here to fix. The thing is, the more you push, the worse it's gonna get. The more you yell at yourself to push your hand on the burning stove, the worse it's gonna get. The more you're gonna beat yourself up, you're gonna be at war with your internal reality. Because forcing yourself to just start reinforces the idea that acting and starting is unsafe in all circumstances. It wires urgency and pressure into every action. And your body learns, I guess I only deserve to rest or feel okay if I earned it through panic and force. And that's how you end up in burnout cycles, where you can only act in short bursts and then collapse the rest of the time. This is where we shift the question from how do I make myself do this to what kind of conditions help me feel safe enough to begin. So how do we move forward, right? We stop relying on force and start building a bridge so that that kind of productivity, that ability to act isn't in short bursts. It's accessible to us all the time. I want you to think about your task like a river. On one side, you're tired and overwhelmed and exhausted. That's where you are right now. The other side is this action you want to take. Not only does the action need to get done, but it will make you feel better, more accomplished, and you know this. Just start demands that you leap across the rapids. But what you really need is a bridge. That bridge is made of curiosity and clarity and minimum viable actions, which if you're new to my channel, essentially means the smallest possible action you can take to move forward. If you want to cook dinner and you're not letting yourself get up, the minimum viable action is going and walking in the kitchen. Or if you really don't feel like showering and you're negotiating with yourself and trying to convince yourself you don't have to, just go walk in the bathroom. That's all you have to do. So here's how you build that bridge. Start with curiosity, not shame. Instead of asking, why am I like this? Because I know you've asked that before and the answer never changes. Ask, what feels hard about starting today? Or what would make this feel more doable? Or what am I afraid might happen if I begin? Or what am I afraid will happen if I don't begin? Then find your minimum viable action. Not the whole task and not the perfect version. not prioritizing the output or what you're getting out of it. But I want you to romanticize the ability to start and trust yourself to start. The smallest possible step that doesn't scare your nervous system. Not write the article. Just open the doc and write a sentence that you're allowed to delete. And then create a cue of safety. It could be music or a candle or a timer, a certain place in your house, something that tells yourself, your body specifically, that this is a safe and non-judgmental place to begin. If you're resonating with this and you want a simple tool to help you move forward gently, I made a free guide that walks you through these steps. It's called the 5-Day Action Plan, and it's designed to help you re-engage with these tasks when everything feels like too much. It's totally free, and it's been a game changer for a lot of people who deal with the same exact thing you do. That's probably another thing if you're coming to this video. You think that you're the only person who's this messed up. You're not. Executive dysfunction comes from a lot of places. It comes from narcissistic abuse and trauma, or ADHD or ADD. It can come from a lot of things. And it results in not being able to trust yourself to do something, or to not let yourself do it because it doesn't feel safe. If it worked for them, it'll work for you. And it's totally free. So what do you have to lose? Grab it when you're ready at the link below. So here's the hard truth most people aren't gonna say. Real momentum is slow. I'm sorry. I know that's not what you want to hear, and it's not what my clients wanted to hear when they joined the program. I had someone reflect on that earlier this week, actually. She said, I'm kind of grieving who I thought I'd be right now. But if I look back at all the progress I made, I can actually see all of this growth that before entering the program, I wouldn't have counted as growth. The way I can start late but show up anyway. Or doing half of the thing and still being proud of myself. Pausing those shame spirals before they even start. Looking at myself and my situation with neutrality. Interpreting my responses as data and information to be synthesized. Not referendums on my worth as a person. Saying I'm overwhelmed and choosing one step instead of fighting or flighting or fawning. And none of that stuff is lazy. It's building a relationship with you. One where you stop trying to earn your worth with productivity and instead learn to move forward with safety, not fear. Because when you build trust with yourself, you don't have to trick your brain to slam your hand on the stove. You start to move more naturally, with less resistance, with more self-respect, with more context for why you're struggling in the first place. If this was helpful for you, if you're realizing that your stuckness isn't some kind of discipline issue, but it's a sign of a deep, chronic misalignment, then I'd love to invite you to a real conversation with me. I offer free discovery calls for people who are done with this surface level treatment and want lasting change that honors their humanity. Because I've been where you are. I know how it feels to deal with this every single day, to have it consume everything you want to do, all those goals you want to accomplish, all those ambitions you want to reach for. And most of all, I know how it feels to stand there and say, life isn't worth living if it's like this. That's what brought me to you today. That's what brought me through this transformation that was far from easy. But without that breaking point, I wouldn't have turned into the person I am today, who has a business about this, who has a life that I love, who still struggles, but knows how to respond. On this call, we'll talk about what you're really going through, where you are right now, if this is what's really going on, if it's the root cause of your problem, and if my program is the right fit for you, because I'm not going to invite you if it's not. There's no pressure, just support, and the information to make a truly educated decision. The link is below when you're ready. And as always, stay in this corner of the internet as long as you need.